Hey there guys, this is PSG YuGiOh. I just got back from Seattle Regional. I did top. I did do it with Malice at Ignister, I guess is what we're calling it. It's just Malice. But I just wanted to give a look over the ratios and what I found success with what I did not, and what I'd consider changing after seeing the results of the YCS. So let's get right into it. Starting off, 3 backup and 1 wizard. 3 backup, mandatory, absolutely amazing with wizard. I can't say enough about it. For anyone that does not know the deck yet, how this works is for backup at Ignister. If you control a Cyberus Link monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can special summon, activate to special summon onto the field. On summon, you can search for a Dark Cyberus, and then you have to discard 1 card. So it's pretty fucking good, as it is. And then Wizard Ignister is same condition. If you control a Cyberus Link monster special summon from the extra deck, you can target a Cyberus in your grave and reborn it in this at the same time. Pretty good. Moving on to the next new thing from Malice. Malice P March Hare is absolutely insane. It does not target what you banish. It can be from hand or grave, and it's during either player's turn during the main phase. This monster. Then the absolute standard 2 and 2 because we have to. I did do 2 Chessie. Also, shout out to Wolfam for giving me a rarity bump for the regional. Really awesome of him. Just to try and look good, you know. And then we do play these 2, but I also play TB11. The reason for TB11, and it happened a couple times in games, definitely does happen where my even in the mirror, it's not having TB11 is I find high risk, high reward. Again, times during combos, my opponent has negated the summon of, let's say, Whitebinder. That is 100% correct, negating the summon of Whitebinder. And during the combo, the thing is how it would be is if you set TB11 and then banish Whitebinder, to then summon out from deck Whitebinder's engraved, and they impulse that, you're fucked. Sorry for putting in that, but I'll make it clear. The reason why I'd recommend playing TB11 is because there are instances you need to push through the field, you need extra resources, your plays will get stopped, your opponent will not let you combo. That's the idea of YuGiOh. If they do, that's sick. So that's what I mean by it's high risk, high reward. Cool, you're not playing this card, you have a slot for something else that might be defensive, but you're also losing your gas and you're losing your extension by being able to set this, dodge imperm, dodge multiple things, play through interruptions. It just feels like a very good defensive and extension card. There were also many times that I saw my opponent set GWC, then summon out Whitebinder, use GWC to banish Whitebinder, and then summon back another monster. And then Whitebinder tried to activate its effect to draw 1. I ashed it, I impulsed it, whatever it was, and then they kind of just scoop. It does turn past, because unless they have the other extension, their GWC is engraved. They have no way of bringing it back other than March Hare, or if they get to Cryptor, but at that point, it's just so much worse. But it was so much of a safer play when you could summon out Whitebinder, then while you have TB11, you set your GWC, and then setting your GWC, you activate your TB11, summoning that back out, and then summoning out a name you have not banished from deck, and because you haven't banished that name, if they ash your Whitebinder, you're like, cool, well, I'll use the GWC to bring it back, and then still end up with 2 bodies on field. However, I have these 2 traps are now gone, and I need to be able to set up March Hare on my opponent's turn to play. So that's why it's really important, I find, to still play TB11, is it allows you to keep playing through your opponent's turn and gives you more options for your opponent's interruptions. Then going to the new card, Malice in the Mirror. This was absolutely insane. Helps you break boards, helps you combo, searches cards. It's really good. I think one of the things that a lot of people forget is this is a card that you can be really greedy with because you have this in the grave. In simplified game states, I would not recommend banishing this card because it is ashable. And the thing is there's times where you activate March Hare, and you think about banishing this while it's engraved because you have other names. But the thing is your other names are not going to be able to be ashed. However, this can be, and that will stop your turn. That did happen. I did win a game today because in a simplified game state, I drew March Hare for turn, and I was like, okay, I'm going to win. I'm going to activate March Hare, and I thought about it for a second. I was thinking about banishing Malice in the Mirror so I can get more extension. But again, it's a high risk, high reward because in the end, my opponent did actually have Ash. He had 4 cards in hand. He just had a bunch of hand traps. So at that point, it's very thing where you have to remember this deck really does well pushing through hand traps. So you just have to be careful, I find. Then you have 2 Malice in the Mirror. To follow up non-engine technically is I do play a Terraforming. Yeah, you kind of have to. So that's where it is. Again, thank you, Will Pham. And then kind of a standard is 1 Gold Sark. These next 3 cards, I'm looking at the lists from Pasadena, Providence, and I do kind of agree with their thoughts more. So some people cut Called by the Grave, some people cut Talons and the Thrusts. I am not opposed to the idea of cutting these. These were somewhat lackluster. This did help me in a very simplified game state. I did call by Lancia a few times. It does come up. It's helpful. It's a really nice sack you one of. This is just unbelievable. This allowed me to literally win more games I can count. More times than I should have. So I don't see why not. So I could see cutting these for more interruptions on my opponent's turn. I find that Thrust is not often super live, and often I'm just saying an Impulse, so it's like an extra copy of Impulse, so that my opponent knows of, so it's not too great. So yeah. Moving on to the non-engine and defensive cards. I played 3 Fuelos, 2 Perulia. I think this was absolutely amazing. I did face, for the record, I believe 2 Mitsurugi Ryziels, 3 Malice. I played against two White Forest. I played against a Mermail and the weirdest one was Gimmick Puppet. But anyway, I'll keep moving on. These were really helpful against them. I think they're really good. I also play Droll. I find that being able to Perulia or Fuelos on their turn, and then Droll on like later turns, or if they end up passing, and I'm like, okay, cool, and they Perulia Fool me back, I can Droll them. And then also, speaking of, I did play 3 Ash Blossom just to try and counter the Mulcharmies. I think those are really helpful. I did play the 2 Bestials, Druisworm and Magnemite. I think those were really good. And then I did play a Saki of Shifter. I would probably cut this for a different card. This was going to be my 41st card. Shout out to Rhinex for just saying, hey, I don't see why you wouldn't just run a Saki however, maybe I just should play a different card. Anyway, moving on. I don't think there was any games that I won activating this. I activated this. I took it out of my deck every single time I was in the Malice Mirror. It just was useless. It was okay against Mitsurugi. It did help win a game against White Forest, so I will say that, I think, but White Forest is not the variable. Anyway, then 3 Impulse. 3 Impulse was absolutely correct. I love 3 Impulse. I didn't play Imperm. I found that it was a bit lackluster just going into Malice, being able to set up, like, they read a lot of your set cards as an Imperm, as more things like that. So I think what their play is most of the time is to make a Lingribo and just play under that. So I found it was dead most of the time, or my opponent played around it. So, and also Nibiru, it didn't feel correct. I felt like it doesn't do anything against Mitsurugi Rizal. It doesn't really do anything against White Forest on its own. It doesn't really do anything against Malice on its own. It does such a small impact. However, I understand in simplified game states, it can really turn the tide of a game. However, I find that most of the time in this game right now, it is simply just, it might end your opponent's turn, but they have a lot more resources now. That it didn't stop them. And you've now spent your one, and they kind of just pass turn with either a half board or just the nib token with a bunch of hand traps. So they're fine. And also, I did play Link Spider because Nibiru, I did get Nibiru'd probably a total of 5 or 8 times. I summoned this guy out. It was wonderful. I loved it. Or I just had purely enough gas to keep going. And then I played the 2 Lingaribo. I think 2 was absolutely correct. 2 definitely comes up. Simplified game states, again, it's just really helpful to make. Being able to negate Impulse, Imperm, which kind of can hurt the deck if you're not, doing this. And I think in the Malice Mirror, a lot of times I set up a board, my opponent attempts to crack it, they get through some of it, I get to my turn, I have a Malice name on field, they let me go to main phase, and I immediately link summon that fucking monster off. I immediately link summon that monster off for Lingribo. That is what I do every single time. And as soon as I summon it out, usually they know that their back row is dead. I did play Almirage. It did not come up today. It's come up in testing. You do brick in this deck. And when you brick in this deck, it hurts. However, my might cut this because I find you sometimes might just want to. You might just have to pass. Like, you might just have to pass. And normal summoning your interactions, like the Ash Blossom, your Droll, your Perulias, your Fuas, it just sucks. Because that could have skipped their turn. And next time, like, your next draw might be play. So, moving on to the Link 2s. This got a little mixed up. We played the one Splash, one Cyberus Wicked, the SP, and the Haggard Lizardos, and the Nightmare Cerberus. These were all good. Splash Mage was really good. Cyberus Wicked was okay, was really good. I did not go into SP much. It can help, especially breaking boards, but just never came up. I did go into Haggard Lizardos many times because I felt my opponent had Imperm something. I did have this get ogred, and I just thanked God because they did not ogre correctly there. I banished out white, was it Dormouse? It didn't activate its effect on field yet, so it worked out for me. And then Nightmare Cerberus, I did see a few lists playing a different Link 2. I'm going to try and remember the name of it. I cannot at all. But essentially, it is a Link 2 that is a Cyberus that lets you pop your opponent's Nightmare, or no, Chaos Hunter. Or not pop, but it negates its effects. I think that's a better play. Because I didn't go into this once. I think Nightmare Cerberus doesn't synergize with the deck anymore because you don't play Bestials, and because you don't play Bestials, you're not having your extension after you make this. Because it's no longer a Cyberus, like, because this isn't a Cyberus, it's actually a Fiend, you're not able to bring stuff back as easy. Like, you're not able to continue comboing, which really sucks. So that's that. Moving on to Link 3s, pretty simple. Yeah, one Cryptor, one White Binder, one Red Ransom. Those are the minimum. And then one Access Code, one Firewall, and one Allied. Code Talker at Ignister. Access Code put in so much work. And doing Firewall a couple times. Allied Code was pretty good. Yeah. No, this helped me deal with more Chaos Hunters than I can count. Not because of the banish, but because I would be in a mirror, or it was past game 2. I was going second. I hand trap them enough, and I can start making half board. I can start pushing through their board. They Chaos Hunter on my summon. I have backup, so I go into Almiral, or I go into Link Spider, or not Link Spider, Lingeribo. I go into Lingeribo, and then summon out backup. I back up Search Wizard. I go into Red Ransom, and then I go into Access Code. I go Access Code, tack over, and then I go Access Code Talker, banish Red Ransom to pop their other card if they have any on field, and that just dealt with enough. Yeah, that in of itself is just really yeah. I did see Topologic as a card. I wasn't sure if that was the right play. I did see it in stream, so might look into that. 3 Lancia is in the side deck, then 3 Chaos Hunter. Those were for the Malice matchup. There is one more card I put in here that kind of helped for Malice, but yeah, I did side in the remaining 2 thrusts. These were really helpful all day. I really loved them. Again, I might not do thrust, but the thing is, I do really like setting Mischief of the Gnomes with it if I can go into game 2, because if they Lancia me, Chaos Hunter me, whatever it is, if they Chaos Hunter me, this was an out for Chaos Hunter. It was super helpful. I would put this in going against Malice because I would have an assumption that they would do this. I wouldn't put this in, obviously, but I would put this in for talents. And then moving forward from that, because Mischief of the Gnomes, this is actually for, sorry for explaining this, Mischief of the Gnomes for YuGiOh and Mitsurugi, because Mitsurugi has to tribute 2 reptiles that equal the exact amount for its ritual summon off of Mitsurugi ritual. Because it cannot do that, because the levels of the cards in hand are not it. They have to pretty much do prayers summon back, and then they have to go normal summon, Habakiri, and then tribute their normal summoned so that they can bring out from deck monster that, and like once they do that, it's so much easier because I know the line. You ash one of those things and their turns get. And then and for Mitsurugi Raizo, I just felt like I wanted a card that turned off both. I didn't want to do Dimension Barrier because it would only turn off one of a 2-sided engine. Then I played 1 Harpies, 1 Lightning Storm. These were very mediocre today. I didn't like this. I should not have sided this. This was just a fear of like, what if I do play against Apophis? Like, I do want to play against that, the Tomb Keeper deck. I just wanted to have something to help with that, but it was the wrong call. And then I, again, didn't want to get pinned against Mitsurugi Raizo, so I did do 1 Detonator and 3 Metaltronus. I just wanted to respect the 2 best decks that were going to be in the game. I did not respect Mermail enough, which is my loss. This also is an out for Chaos Hunter, which if I was playing against Malice, I would do this. Just because sometimes my opponent might start with like they might start with a Malice name just to like their normal summon, whether it's Dormouse, Chessie, or White Rabbit, or I would Metatronus it. Easy. Sometimes my opponent would summon out Lingeribo, thinking I have a set trap, and then they would go summon out like Dormouse, and then try and go Dormouse effect, and I'd go Metaltronus, and they just weren't ready for it. So yeah, no, it was pretty good there. It also outs Chaos Hunter because you can summon Cryptor. Mine feels bad because it's not properly summoned, but yeah. Anyway, guys, that was my deck profile for a Malice deck. That was what I took to Seattle. Again, big shout outs to everyone. I believe Leo for letting me have some cards. And Will Fam for letting me rarity up some of my deck. That's going to be it for tonight, guys. I just wanted to say thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll take any, support you can give. I do know the person that got first place at the Seattle Regional, so I'm going to ask for deck profile for them, see if that works out. But as always, please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'd love to hear from you guys later. Okay, peace.